Welcome to Rantaz. If you're looking for the shiny mug, it's 2 universes to the left. Tell Rebecca I say, hey. If you're staying, close the door. You're letting all the blood suckers out. Let me pour you something that'll rot your gut, my gut, and the gut of the next 6 generations. Well, I sermonize here in the old redwood pulpit. Let's talk about vampires, gods, and freshmen. Here's your primer. Carmilla was a web series, later a web movie, on Kind of TV's YouTube, about Laura Hollis, which I'll be referring to as Hollis from here on out. Anyway, she's a freshman at Silas Uni in Austria. Hey Craig, can I get a red flag counting gag? Why not? Are we? Are we really? See to the Possessed Specials board. Moving on. Her roommate goes missing and she Lois Lanes her way into a vampire girlfriend, and as the old man would say,
to a new world of gods and monsters.
it goes about as well as you might think for our Girl Friday. There are ups, there are downs, gooey feelings are had, people die, people are resurrected, hunted for sport. You know, basic college stuff. I personally found the show through the internet's favorite vampire mama, Maven of the Eventide. And it piqued my interest. I'm a fan of ARGs and a fan of urban fantasy. I watched the first 3 seasons and immediately gave funds to help produce the movie. For the purposes of this show, I will not be talking about the movie. While I've watched all 3 seasons at least twice, I've only watched the movie once, and I like to watch things at least twice before I give my opinion on them. And I can save it for another session here at Rantaz. On the note, why am I talking about this on Rantaz? It's not what you call clickbait, and I'm not exactly a target demographic. The simple answer is there wouldn't be a Rantasmagoria without this show. I knew going into the relaunch of the new Chaos Theater that there was going to be at least 2 shows. The aforementioned New Chaos Theater and What's Up Punks. And I had a vague notion for a 3rd show. Something to do in the reviewing oeuvre, and maybe being in like the back room of the bar or here at the bar. Then I saw this show and it gave me a Timothy Green reaction. Now for those not to know, what is a Timothy Green reaction? Well, it's after you watch something, good or bad, and you have to talk about it. There's something inside you that compels you to say something about what you saw. Now for a long time I thought that part of myself was gone, but this show brought it back. So it seemed only fitting that this be the first thing we cover here at Rantasmagoria. Spoiler warning. This episode is not going to be spoiler-free, so if you want to watch a bunch of Scoobies save the world against the backdrop of uni life without my comments, leave now. We'll keep your drink cold for you. Number 10. The writing is very much on point.
Hey. Blood. There was blood everywhere again. It filled the room until it was an ocean, and above it this light. Nothing should shine like that, like the rotted heart of the world.
As much as I like fight scenes, special effects, and gore, I do love a well-written and acted line.
I don't care what kind of big paleolithical deal you were. If you're in a brain, you're running on neurons, and I am really good at neurons. Science killed God once already. Let's see about a sequel.
Number 9. The library is awesome.
Everything was fine at first. As soon as we got there, everyone was leaving the building, and yes, when the sun went down, we started to hear something...
Skittering?
Yeah, skittering in the stacks, just beyond your periphery. And that most of the computer monitors we could see were warning us to run now.
Well, it's a Tesseract, and they're just always fun, just like another Tesseract I know. It has a bit of a personality. During the last season, the place even becomes an ally and refuge for the Scoobies, and a gumball machine for Deus Ex Machinas.
Laura!
Number 8. I am a sucker for good music, and Carmilla has a great one with Love Will Have Its Sacrifice, and has found its way on my Spotify, along with Stronger Than You Know, both by Souls. It's been running since I started talking. Also, Season 3 had some great non-diegetic music. I couldn't find an OST, so I'm assuming it wasn't made for the series, but still, good choices. Number 7. I know I don't need to say this, but it's a better love story than Twilight. And in general, most love stories. Let me preface that with what my idea of a good love story is. That would be La Apartment or Love Actually. So this is more my own personal opinion talking, but then again, this is my list. I do like a twinge of bitterness and nihilism in my love stories. They don't take the easy route with the problems in the relationship. It's not necrophilia, it's not, oh my god, my significant other is a creature of the night. It's real stuff. Conflicting worldviews, age differences, putting people on pedestals, baggage. Lots and lots of angsty baggage. And I get it. It's not what we do that keeps us up at night. It's what we fail to do. What we could have done but didn't do. Number 6. I did not see Season 3's big bad coming. With most series like this, there was a big bad for each season. Season 1 had the Dean. Season 2 had a Fox big bad with Matsuki. And it turns out, ZOMG, the actual big bad was Vorty. And for the 3rd season, well, I gotta say, I love Circular Nature, and again, it was the Dean, this time wearing a new face. Either because of my own prejudices or because of design, I did not see Perry as the new big bad. That's worthy of a golf clap. She was the audience surrogate for the group. You know, the guy who holds on to normalcy like a security blanket. You know, even though there are giant mushrooms outside your door.
Didn't make you hallucinate the giant mushrooms. You inhaled spores and helped burn down the theater building. Deal.
Nothing against Annie Briggs. You are a treasure and the reason why I watched Clairvoyance. I consider myself a bit of an old hand when it comes to this urban fantasy stuff, so anything that can get me off guard, I love. Perry, you were the worst part of Season 1, but you were the best part of Season 3.
But let me assure you, my struggling dears, your Dean will never give you up.
Number 5. Despite the budget, stationary camera, space of the set, they actually gave us a pretty decent fight scene.
Run! Carm!
Oh, dear. You're gonna want to be careful with this sword. You did try to kill a god with it.
Despite them being terrible, they actually gave us a pretty decent Christmas special too.
Carmilla?
Oh, really? Because I wouldn't want to ruin your holiday fun.
Evil Christmas lady trying to eat me here.
You know, with all my inappropriate mayor biting and talk about murdering people for Christmas.
Murder her for Christmas! Murder her for Christmas!
Also, Craig, next year, no Austrian gingerbread apps. Number 4. La Fontaine is the MVP of this series, and my favorite character. Run that Fontaine doing or saying something cool footage.
A lot of problems can be solved through good communication.
A lot of problems can also be solved by taking hair and blood samples to figure out exactly what kind of freak it is you're dealing with.
Oh, wow. Oh, that, okay. I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but she's nocturnal, she's so strong, she's at least 80 years old, and she drinks blood.
Well, yeah, but we know she's a vampire. I mean, we've known that since the blood in the milk container, right? Vampire, 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 yeah? We thrive on it. We tape our flamethrowers to our pulse rifles, and we make the weird submit. We're going to the library.
Good news, smarty pants. The dean will see you now.
Oh, that's okay. I know she's busy.
Did you record your own kidnapping?
Come on, Pear. You gotta admit, this is pretty cool.
You reanimated a dead vampire and stuck a disembodied consciousness into him. What were you thinking?
Gee, this should be pretty cool. Oh, hello to the chest trauma.
We're going to need gauze and peroxide and possibly ether.
Vampire, we can skip the ether.
Miss Constantine can bench press a Mazda. Will you be the one holding her down?
Ether, cool. Maybe tranquilizer darts?
Have you all lost your minds?
No joke, if they made a series of Fontaine doing science a la Dr. Insano or investigating weirdness like Stanford Pines, I would give money to make that show happen. If La Fontaine is my favorite character, who's in second place?
How do we feel about bear spray?
Probably not. Side note, you planning on invading a bear sanctuary?
Get away from my daughter, you bloodsuckers!
Ah, you thought it'd be the photogenic Hollis. Nothing against Kalatani, but damn.
And I nearly drove off the road twice trying to get here, and then the last huge earthquake just swallowed my car, and I was rescued by a giant, which would really have been upsetting if videos hadn't already broadened my horizon. So anyway, this giant, Bob, he needed help navigating through the Styrian Alps, and he has a cousin, apparently, who works here. Do you know him? He works in the phys ed department. And then it was just about the little tiny swarms of dragons and talking fungus and a lady who I think was a harpy. None of them had any idea of what might have happened to you. And then I saw this door, and I put my ear up against it to listen, and I hear you. I hear you! Getting assaulted by a vampire again!
What can I say? I like people who can adapt in the face of insanity. And I see a little Burt Gummer in him. Number 3. You know what's also on point? The acting. Again, you were warned about spoilers, so this is on you. I'm just gonna let this scene play out.
And so we free Laura and Perry, and we rush the vampire line, and we totally had them on the ropes when this rumbling started. And from the bottom of the pit, you could see this light rising, and it was like
the sun coming up underground, and you're transfixed by the brightness. Everybody started walking right towards it, because what can you do but give yourself over to this light? Which was the moment this huge cat grabbed me by the scruff of my neck and dragged me away from the edge. And then it shrank and shifted, and there was Carmilla. With a sword. A sword like a hollow in reality, eating light.
And when the dean saw Carmilla, she screamed and came at us in this swarm of shadows, like crows scratching and clawing. And they fought like that until the dean transformed into a woman again, at which point Carmilla decks her in the face with the sword hilt and she falls into the pit.
But it was too late. The light was everywhere. You could see these figures in it reaching out for you. And I think Elle was maybe reaching out for Carmilla, and Carmilla was crying, because in all this time she'd never been able to see her. But then Carmilla turned to me and said, "You know, I really am starting to hate this heroic vampire crap." And then she leapt. Drove the sword right into the heart of the light, and the light shook and sputtered like it was alive, and the ghosts screamed, and they all fell together into the darkness.
Once the light was out, I guess the brain parasites died because everyone seemed to wake up, more or less.
I was arriving at the wine and cheese, and that's it. I don't even remember if I got any wine.
I was on a campus tour. I didn't even want to go to this school.
But we were all still stuck in an almost completely dark underground cavern with a gang of vampires. Except it wasn't totally dark, because all over the walls and in the air were these beautiful glowing puffballs, courtesy of the Alchemy Club.
Yeah, it was like having a bar fight in black light. And then this other vamp tried to break my arm, and Psych Society here saved my bacon.
That was accidental.
Hey, even if you save a Zeta's life, you become an honorary Zeta. You get a trident and everything. And, you know, it'd be kind of cool if you would... Well, when the chips are down, you're kind of like a bro. And I could sort of use one.
Well, finally, all the vampires surrendered. Except for Carmilla's mom, who was 50 feet down the cliff face, clinging on by her fingernails.
Oh, and she was doing the whole, "You fools, you don't know what you've done. You'll regret this. Zombies will eat your liver, blah, 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 blah."
Yeah, and then Laura's like, "Hey, sorry, the students of Silas University would like a new dean because A, you're a callous evil witch." Yep, that one's it, A. And then Laura goes and pushes this rock that's been teetering on the edge, and bam, done with the dean.
Even better than that, now that the ancient demonic brain lantern is off, people are finally coming around, realizing they probably should have been upset about going to a school that serves eyeballs in the cafeteria, has safety protocols for escaped cacodemons, and where Mortal Kombat is a prerequisite for tenure. The administration is finally going to have to listen to my long, long list of healthy...
Yeah. Sorry, Laura.
It's okay.
Laura, you did it. You saved Betty. You saved almost everyone.
Yeah. Almost everyone.
That is a static shot of a bunch of people in a room telling an epic story. This is literally the opposite of what you learn to do in filmmaking school. There's a thing called show don't tell, where, as it says, you show the viewer what's happening instead of telling the viewer what happened. For many reasons, this should not work in a visual medium. But for some reason, mostly the acting, this is my favorite scene of the entire series and the movie. Number 2. The show is a good example of might for right versus right for might, or the Arthurian ideal and basic logic. I kid, but Hollis and Carmilla do a good job of representing these two different viewpoints. Hollis is might for right. Do good, fight evil because that's the right thing to do. Despite what others might say, she doesn't see herself as some chosen hero. She fights a good fight because she has to do something, damn it. Carmilla is right for might. She will rise up and fight when properly motivated, first by vengeance, later by love, and then back to vengeance, but then again, love. I don't believe one or the other is a superior ideology, but it is nice to see both sides well represented and how people can find a balance between two different viewpoints and come together. Number 1. The concept of Silas School housing a dark god and monsters using it as a honey trap for sacrifice is amazing. I've spent some time among the stacks of higher education. They all have a campus ghost story or myth, dark secrets no one likes to talk about, so everyone talks about it. Using the campus as a honey trap, enticing in students is brilliant. Who hasn't gone on a bender during that time? The first taste of freedom, so intoxicating that you let your guard down because in the back of your mind, you still feel somewhat safe. This is where you're supposed to be and what you're supposed to be doing, right? That's what really makes it so insidious. On average, no one really knows anyone their freshman year. Betty is a prime example. When we first meet her, she seems like a party girl. It's a kind of lame one, but point still stands, when in reality, she's closer to La Fontaine.
Sharp as ever, Hollis. No wonder your first choice college was an evil death trap with a second-rate journalism program.
Since when is she an expert in ancient Mesopotamian languages?
My high school GPA was a 6.7 Morticia. When it turned out an evil fish god had decided to hijack my brain, I did some research. Was becoming an expert in extinct languages supposed to be hard?
So no one noticing every few years students disappearing is sad but believable. And after the initial threat is gone, aka Laufey, the outer god anglerfish, that was described as a hungry light. Black Azoth, I would have loved to have seen that. There is still a number of non-conspiracy threats.
Side effects of psychotropic fog? Gamma irradiated geckos? Gas leak over by the Milgram. Localized rain of spiders.
The day-to-day of being a human being, surviving finals, and this cracked out insanity. As much as I like the love story, there's your series. Get Jeffrey Combs to play a teacher or the headmaster and call the school Miskatonic University and you will have a cult hit. Well, enough me jawing on. Hope you enjoyed it and consider checking out the series for yourself. Here's your fizzy dagon. If your lips go numb, that's perfectly normal. If you start speaking in tongues, well, you have 30 seconds to get to the bathroom before you throw up. Enjoy. Hope you consider being a usual patron, or maybe just giving us a tip. As always, like to appease the algorithm gods, all praise. Share this video with friends, subscribe, and ring that bell.